accounts receivable here. Okay, so for an example, now if I'm making a sales on a credit basis, then what entry will be reflected there? I'm selling a product to the customer here, but on a credit.
Creditor to the credit.
Customer's name and sales.
Yeah, credit.
Customer name debited to sales.
Customer debit to sales, right? So when you book this entry, when you generate an invoice, right? When you generate an outgoing invoice, like we have to send a bill to our customer that okay, this much product you have been purchased from us. Okay, we have sold this much product to a customer, and you have to pay this much amount of money to the company, right? Such kind of invoice will be sent to the customer when we deliver the goods to them, right? So this is the entry. It comes when you book an invoice, customer invoice. Now let's say, just assume after 30 days, if customer is paying you a money, customer is making a payment to the company through a cash or a bank, right? Then what entry will be reflected there?
Customer credit to bank account debit.
Customer credit to bank account, cash or a bank debit. Now, if I want to post these two transactions over here, then which all general ledgers do I need?
One will be a customer name, second will be sales, third will be cash.
Okay, so we have cash GL already we have created here, right? Cash GLS 2300.
Yeah.
So we already have a cash GLS 2300. Bank GL I'm not creating now because we have to create bank accounts there. We'll do create bank accounts in the later sessions. Now we need a sales GL. So if I want to create a sales GL, then under which group over here? Okay, we also have a sales GL there. Sales GL as a sales GL number, we have created it as a 4000. Okay, now let's say I have 3 customers in my company. So these 3 customers are Sunrise Industries, then Blue Wave Solutions, and third, let's keep it as a light manufacturing. Okay, so these are the 3 of our customers in our system. Then are you going to create this 3 customer as an individual GL here?
No.
Okay, so here what we are doing, right? Here we are selling a product to a customer. Okay, but we have not received a money, right? So that is been booked under the receivable accounts, and once we receive it, we book this payment entry. So that is done. Now we have this 3 customers. 3 customers will be created as a individual GL here, like how we created sales GL, cash GL, and all. In the same way, are we going to create customers as an individual GL accounts here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so now if we are making a sales to Sunrise Industries, okay, so entry will be what? Customer account. Sorry,
Customer account to sales credit.
yeah, I mean Sunrise Industries
Sunrise Industries debit, sales credit.
sales credit. Okay, and if we are making sales to Blue Wave, then same
Then
Blue Wave
same
account
as it is
debit
like this.
sales credit. And if we are making sales to our Elite, then Elite customer will be debit sales credit, right? So here we are making sales of 100. For Blue Wave, we are making sales of 200. And for Elite, we are making sales of 300. Here is our balance sheet. Okay, so now we have made entry Sunrise Industries got debited and sales got credited, right? So Sunrise Industries, the customer will be reflected here under asset or a liability.
Asset.
Asset. Accounts receivable asset.
So do I need to book here like as an individual name of our customer? Sunrise Industry will be booked as an 100.
No, it's like a grouping, debtors grouping.
But you
No,
told
ma'am.
you guys have to create it. Like you guys told me yes that okay I have to create individual GL accounts for each and every customers.
Ma'am, it
If
will
I
come on the debtors. Sundry debtors.
I'm not sure. Some are saying that individual GLs to create. If I create individuals
Yeah,
GL,
me only said while posting the entry, I thought like an journal entry individually we used to post, but in a balance sheet, it's whole group under the sundry debtors.
exactly, it will not be created as an individual GL. If you create individual GL, you can just imagine your balance sheet how it looks.
Yes, ma'am.
So what we do instead of creating your individual GL accounts, we just create one reconciliation GL, that is our debtors GL. So what is the work of debtors GL?
To record the all uh, to
All the customers come under this debtors here. Whenever we post some entries, we will debit the debtors.
Yes, so first of all our debtors GL come under asset over there. So what is the work of our debtors GL? Debtors GL will what debtors GL will do? Whatever customers, whoever customers are there, right, in our company, whatever they owe to us, whatever money they owe to the company on a credit sales, whatever we have made, the total of that amount will be reflected in the debtors GL there. Okay, so here in SAP, this debtors GL is known as a reconciliation account, reconciliation GL, which link to customer master and our balance sheet in accounts receivable part. So workout debtors GL is nothing to reflect the total outstanding amount from all of our customers. Okay, so what it does, debtors GL will create one individual customer subledger, like how we had this general ledgers, right? You can view each and every general ledgers detail under that. In the same way, if you want to check an individual customer's account, let's say how much total receivable is there under Sunrise Industries, what is the total amount total receivable amount from Blue Wave Solutions. If you want to check any customer's individual account, then we have a customer ledger. So with the help of this debtors ledger, through the debtors ledger only, we can say it creates one individual customer sub ledgers. Okay, and it links them with one of our reconciliation GL, that is our debtors GL. So in SAP, this debtors GL will not be termed as a debtors, it will be termed as a reconciliation GL here. Okay. So here we can say customer wise details will be stored in subledger and total balance will be stored in sundry debtors GL. Okay. Okay, so clear what is debtors GL and what is the term we use for it, because from now onwards we'll do the configurations, right? Everywhere it will be used a term as a reconciliation GL only, not any other GL. So what is the first thing we need is our debtors GL, and if I want to create one debtors GL, then under which group we can create here our debtors GL?
Ma'am, second one, assets.
Of course assets, but in assets we have this many groups available. So under which group we can create it?
Trade receivable.
Other current assets.
Why other current assets and why trade receivables? Whoever is saying here,
Trade.
but your voice is breaking a lot.
All the debtors, whatever will be there, that will be for the current period. So that's why other current asset.
Okay, and who told trade receivable?
So, ma'am, trade receivable is for trading with the customer. So that's why the in trade receivable account. We are selling the product to the customer.
Okay.
So that's why in trade with the customer. So this is trade receivable.
It is trade receivable. Your debtors GL will be created under trade receivable. So see, now as you asked, well, as someone told, right, other current asset. What all things other current asset include? It includes all the short-term assets, right? They never include, other current asset will never include any direct sales or indirectly sales we are making it out there. Okay, so that is the reason we never book it under other current assets there. And these are the receivables. These are the amounts which we are going to receive from the customer as we have made as sales to them. So we are going to book it under trade receivable, as trade receivables shows amount which is receivable from customer. What kind of customers, like what kind of business? Whatever business we are doing, right? The normal business operations we do. So whatever receivables we get from a normal business operations, that will be booked under trade receivable, not under other current assets. So my debtors GL will be created as 2200 as we are creating under trade receivable. So my GL number
Ma'am,
is 20.
trade receivable is also part of current assets, na?
How come? Can you explain?
And trade receivables comes under current asset because current asset is a short-term period for debtors
Yes.
which are less than 1 year, and we consider trade receivable under this head only because we have to wind up the debtors in 1 year for closing the financial year.
Okay. Yes. Anyone wants to say anything? Like, does trade receivable comes under other current assets?
Other current assets nahi, current assets only.
Okay. Only current assets.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So anyone wants to say does it comes or not? I want a poll.
No, ma'am.
Yes,
Why
ma'am, it
no?
comes.
Why no?
It's a sub module of current asset. Like not module, like sub account.
So can we create under other current
come.
assets? Sorry. So can we create debtors GL under current assets?
No.
Why? You guys told now it is a part of trade receivable is a part of current asset.
Decision done by trade receivable in that scenario. If you have
Whatever.
an asset in your business, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
If you have
I
an
don't
asset in your
know.
business, so
Mhm.
Ma'am.
we
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, under current asset, banks also comes under current asset only. But under current account, like current asset, it comes like sub current asset, like banking and trade receivables. That comes there only, not as a under directly current asset.
Current assets only. Yes, it comes. But here we do have individual group created, na, for trade receivable. We can create our cash GL also under three individual accounts. Yeah, here we have our individual trade receivable accounts. We have individual cash accounts. So we are creating as an individual from our individual account only. If we have not created that individual account, if we might have created just current assets, right? Then we can under current assets we can create cash account. Our inventory is also our trade receivables also under it. But as we have individual grouping created, we have created the whole chart of accounts. That is the reason we are going to create under trade receivable as 2200 our debtors GL. So let's create our GL. What is the T code to create your GLs?
A350.
Sorry?
FB50.
FS00.
Yes, it's FS00, not FP50. FP50 is post your GL account document, like GL account transactions.
Okay.
So let's go to FS00. Let's first of all let's change our company code in a tree. So our company code is TG01. So we have 3 GLs created. Now let's create one more. Click on this create option. Mention GL account number as 2200. Company code as TG01. Click OK. Now mention your GL account type. So under which account it will come? It will come under balance sheet account. Account group will be trade receivable. Short text will be debtors GL. Long text will be debtors GL for company code TG01. Now go to the second tab, control data tab. So as I told, debtors GL is a reconciliation GL, right? It connects our customer ledger with the total amount of our receivables, right, from the customer. So here we have to mention recon account. This reconciliation account we are creating for which of the account type, right? We have customer accounts, we have vendor accounts, we have asset accounts also. for whom we can create reconciliation GL. So here in the recon account for account type, you have to mention your customers. We are creating this reconciliation customer. Mention sort key as same 001 as per the posting date. Now in create bank and interest tab, mention the fill status group. Fill status group, go to the search option. Okay, I'm giving you the whole groups over here. Just tell me which group we have to mention there in the debtors GL.
account.
Sorry?
Ma'am, reconciliation accounts.
Ma'am, maybe G067.
Yes, exactly. So
Yes.
here, whenever you create
Reconciliation.
any reconciliation GLs, whether it's for vendors, whether it's for customers, or whether it's for assets, reconciliation GL will be assigned a fill status group as G067 only. And save this. So here our debtors GL is created under trade receivable. Now once you create your debtors GL, we want our customers to be created, right? Then only we can post a transaction there, because we already have sales GL and cash GL, and we also have now debtors GL. So only thing we don't have is our customer here. Now to create your customers, in a company there is a chance, right, that you will be having a multiple retail based customers, multiple wholesale customers, multiple export customers, corporate customers, domestic customers, government customers, as like government firms will be there as your customers, right? So how will you differentiate that? Okay, which kind of customers? Okay, let's say retail customers will have a different kind of rule compared to wholesale customers. Things will be different for retail customers and wholesaler customers, right? So how will you make the changes to each and every retail customers and to wholesale customers there? It's a big task now, that if you have to make a changes in the pricing for the retail customers, then you have to assign each and every individual retail customers there, right? That's a task for us to do a long process. So what we do here, we create one customer group. So customer group is what? It is just used to classify your customer, which is based with similar kind of characteristics over there. Okay, now let's say we have 5 customers of retail, 10 customers of wholesaler, 15 customers for export. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll create 3 customer groups. One group as a for all the retail customers will be stored in that particular group. Second group I will create, let's say, as a 02 name, I'm giving as a 02, and all the wholesaler customers will be grouped there. And third customer group I will create as 003. So all the export customers will be grouped over there. So that is the purpose of creating our customer group there. So when you generate a sales report, okay, sales report will be generated as per the group wise, like let's say as a retail sales group, as a wholesaler sales group, as an export sales group and all. So whenever you want to calculate the revenues, right, so it will be easy for our management to analyze the revenues, whatever revenues we are earning from our customers. So we can analyze directly that, okay, from which group we are getting more revenues and all. So clear what is why we create a customer group here?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
to create
Understood.
your customer group, okay, thank you. So to create your customer group, we have to use a T code OBD2. And I'm creating here one retail customers group. Okay, let's just assume. So you have to give a unique code to your customer group. I'm giving a code as TG0D. TG01 is our company code. TG0D means D stands for customer in SAP. So that is for retail group. So let's go to OBD2. Go to, these are the groups created by another users. Okay, let's go to new entry. Mention your account group. Account group means customer account group, and I'm creating a customer account group as, let's say, TG0D. Give a meaning means give a narration for what like which are the group it is. So I'm mentioning here customer account group for a company code TG01, and it's a retail. Now, what if I here select one-time account? Anyone have an idea what is one-time account here?
One-time sales account.
What we do in one-time account there? What is the purpose of it?
It may be a one-time customer.
Like one-time customer, like it's like notifying. We have to collect the receivable from them early.
Ma'am, when we have to do only one time at a once.
Yes, so one-time account is nothing but when your company does business with that particular customer only once, okay, and it does not, let's say we are not going to sell any product to that particular customer in future now. Then for that kind of customers, we are going to create it, means here we are going to select as a one-time account.
Okay.
So for that, we don't want to create a separate master record. Okay. For that is the only reason we assign, means we tell our system that it is only one-time account. So we are not maintaining their master data over there. So instead of creating a full master data for each customers over there, like who is selected as a one-time account, SAP will allow us to use that particular customer as a common customer code there. Okay, where for that customers, we just maintain our individual details and that's it. We are not going to include that customer into our customer master. So that is what one-time account is. But as we are not going to create one-time account here, one-time customers here, I'm not selecting it. Just save the data. When I clicked on save, in the bottom you can see system is giving us an error, but error is marked with a yellow triangle. Just press enter. So here my customer account group is created. Now if you want to customize your fields related to customer, okay, whenever you post any transaction for the customers, and if you want to customize that field, you can see here field status is given. So if I click on general data, it will give me a field which is related to our customers. Okay, which field you want to make it optional, required means mandatory, suppressed, or just display. Suppressed means hidden. Display means you can just view that field, nothing else. So these are the field status variant for whom? For maintaining our customers. If you go to company code data, then I will explain you this company code data and the sales data later on when we'll understand the business partner. But yes, fields, here is a field status which is help us to control our fields related to customers there. So here my customer group is done. Now we have to define a number range for the customer. How to define it? So first of all, the T code is XTN1 that is used to define customer master number ranges, and another T code is OBAR which is used to assign customer master number ranges to customer group. Now what does this number ranges do here? Now let's say in this retail group you have these 3 customers, right? There can be a chances that in this retail group, whatever customers are there, right? Let's say 2 of the customers' name are repeated, like 2 of the customer have a same kind of name. So how can you differentiate that which customer, for which customer you are posting the transaction? So for that reason, we give here a unique code to each and every customers, like a serial numbers we are giving to each and every customers here. So what we'll do in XDN1, there will be a lot many number ranges available. Number ranges like 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 1 will be starting from 1 to 100, 0, 2 will be starting from 101 to 1000 and so on like that. So there will be a different kind of number ranges. We have to pick that number ranges. Let's say we picked a number in 0, 1. Okay, 0, 1 is starting from where? From 1 to 100. So let's say Sunrise Industry got a unique number as a 01. Blue Wave Industries got a number as a unique number as 02. Elite Manufacturing got a unique number as 03 and so on. So to have a unique numbers, to give a unique numbers to each and every of our customer in our group, we have to define number range in XDN1, and that number range, whichever we have selected, we have to assign it to a customer group in the T code OBAR. So let's do this process. Let's go to XDN1. Here we have three tabs. First is display intervals, second is change intervals, and third is of number range status. How we had in the FI number ranges and in the CO number ranges. So let's go to interval. So here you can see we have lot many number ranges available, 0, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Here we have to pick which number range we want to use. So let's say I picked a number range 02, which is starting from 4000 and ends at 4999 and up to 4044. System has already used it. So for us, how many numbers are left? The numbers like the difference from 40452 to 4999. We have this many numbers available for us to use it. So just keep in your mind you want to use a number in 02, nothing else. Go back. Use a T code OBAR to assign that number in 02 there. So let's go to OBAR. Go to position and search for your account group. Account group means your customer account group, that is TG0B. And mention which number range we want to use there, 02. Mention 02. Either you can go to this search option and you can pick also. Okay, both will be available for us, and save this. So from now onwards, whatever customers we will be creating under this particular group, okay, TG0D, they will be using a number range which has been used in 02, and 02 is using yes, 02 is using from 4000 and ends at 4999. So clear how number ranges work here? Okay. Okay. So now the next concept is business partner. What is business partner? Who all are referred as a business partner here?
Customers.
Okay. Customers are a business partner, then how you are going to name it as a customer? So first of all, in SAP S4HANA especially, business with such as our customers, vendors, employees, all these are known as business partner in SAP, not our investors. Okay, so this concept was not there in ECC version. Okay, this concept was introduced in our SAP S/4HANA version. Yeah. Now, what is the difference there? So first of all, let's understand business partner. Business partner is nothing but it's like maintaining the central master data for our customers and vendors. Okay, and whoever is a customer here, let's say Om is a company, okay, and Om is a selling. Om is done doing a sales of garments. Let's say inventories they are selling, right? The finished product they are selling there. So I am purchasing. Sorry, he's selling to me. I am the customer there. Okay. Now, is there any chance that the customer, when I have purchased from that company, so is there any chance that that company will purchase anything from me?
Yes, ma'am.
Then I can be the customer as well as I can be the vendor also.
Yeah.
So even if I'm a customer, then my basic data, let's say my company's name, my company's address, my GST number, my bank details, my taxation rules will be same, right? If I'm a customer or a vendor, both have the
Yeah.
same name.
Yeah. Yes.
So that is what maintaining your central master data is. Maintaining the central master data of your customers and vendors. Central master data means all your basic details of your customers and vendors. But this concept was not there in ECC. In ECC, how we were working, let's say here as I told, right, I am the customer and I am the vendor also for Om's company. Okay. Now what Om has to do if he is using ECC version, then Om has to create a separate customer master data. Okay, in customer master data, Om is going to mention my company's name, address, then payment terms detail, their bank details, their communication details, their taxation details, right? And if I'm a vendor also there, right? Then once again, for the same all details, Om has to create one vendor master data, okay, which is going to store the same details only. So what happens there? Data duplication is happening here, right? So there is a problem of getting the glitches over there in this two separate master datas there. So to avoid these issues, what SAP has done, SAP has introduced this business partner concept. Okay, so what we do in business partner concept, let's understand the structure of business partner. Up to this, is it clear what is business partner? Basically, with whoever our company does a business, right, that are known as business partner. And our company will generally do a business with customers and vendors. Employees means the person who is working in our company. They are also known as business partner. So customers and vendors are our business partner. Up to this, is it clear?
Ma'am, this employee portion, now you are saying business partner. This one is not clear to me because you have said a customer can be a vendor also. But how come employee is business partner?
Okay, what is the work of employees?
To enter the transaction, finalize the reports.
To
Okay.
involve in the day-to-day business transaction and to run the business smoothly.
Okay. Business partner is what? It's our central object, right? Which is used to manage all our uh, details with whom our company interacts, right? And company here interacts with our customers for doing a business, with our vendors to do our business, but also with our employees. In what sense? Employees do what? Employees, they do the reimbursement, the travel reimbursement, then expenses, whatever other expenses are there. They receive in advance payments from our customers. They are also included in this, what we can say, the procurement process, the project, right? So SAP uses your BP to maintain our financial and integration data related to our employees also. Are you getting my point? If you want to maintain your data, employees data, like employees basic details, name and all, right? For that perspective also, SAP use business partner only there. Means business partner has three different roles. In that, the general role will be used for employees as well there. Basically, business partner work is what? To store the general data of the person, means of the firm or a person, individual or an organization with whom our company interacts. So our company also interacts with employees also, right? But employees work for us, but we do interact with them, so their basic data will be also stored in the business partner. So just to store that basic data, we are using a term, a business partner for the employees. So only one role will be maintained there for employees, not other two roles which will be done for customers and vendors.
Okay.
Like when employee is created, right, in our HR, means in our HR module or in our success factor module, right? So what all details do we mention?
Yes, we mentioned.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. We used to mention. HR used to mention all the details about the individual employees.
Okay, I will explain you this HR concept. Now let's say your employee is submitting a travel claim of, let's say, rupees 10,000, right? So an accounting entry will be generated if we check in the perspective with the FI part. Expense account debit to employee payable will be there, because we have to reimburse that particular travel expense to our employee's account only, right? The 10,000. So here employee will be treated as a vendor for payment processes, for payment purposes. Okay, and payment is processed via the BP only, business partner, because with whoever we deals, that is known as business partner. So if reimbursement is being claimed by this particular employee, then we have to we have to send that amount to that vendor, to that employee only. So that employee will be treated as our company vendor for that part. That is the reason we use the term employees for employees as a business partner. Any doubt up to this? So in SAP S/4HANA, what happens if you have customer and vendors are same? Okay, we'll create only one master data. Central master data, that is known as our business partner data. So what it does, it will store the basic details of our customers and vendors in a same group only, not in a multiple different groups for customer individual and vendor individual there. This is how here it works. If you have any doubt up to this, do let me know. Then only we'll move forward with the structure over there. Okay. So now let's understand the structure. So first of all, whenever you want to create your customers or vendors as a business partner, the very first role we have to create is a general role. Just a second. So first of all, we'll create here a general data role. General data role is generally identified with the code 0000000. So what is the work of this general data role? This role is going to store all the common data of each and every roles, means of each and every business partner. Okay, basic details like name, address, contact details, then PAN number, GST numbers, then bank details, communication data. Okay, so this data is maintained once and will be shared across all the roles, whether it's a vendor role, whether it's a customer role over there. Okay, now there's a chances that for whoever we have maintained this general data, right, that can be our customer also, right? Then the second role will be created as a customer FI role. Customer FI roles are identified with the role code FLCU00. We'll understand this role code and everything practically, but as of now, just understand theory now. So, what is customer FI role? That whatever data we have mentioned, right, for an organization, we have to tell now that this particular person or an organization is working as a customer or a vendor with us. So, if they are working as a customer, then we'll assign this customer FI role. So, customer FI role will include what? All our company code data, like for which company code this particular customer belongs. What is the reconciliation account for this customer? Okay, what is the payment terms for this particular customer? What is the earning process details for the customer? All these details will be saved in customer FI role. But now, whatever basic details we maintain here, right, that is our vendor. So what we'll do, if it is a vendor, then we'll assign a vendor FI role. And vendor FI role is identified with the role code FLVN00. So here also, if he's a vendor, then we have to tell our system that for which company code he is our vendor. What is the reconciliation account for that vendor? What is the payment terms for that vendor? Right, so all these details we'll mention at our vendor level. Now what if that whoever is a customer you have created, right, that customer is a part of your sales organization, like of course he will be the part of your sales organization, then only you can able to sell any product to any of your customers there. So if you want to make your customer a part of your sales organization, once again you have to extend this role to customer SD role, and that role is identified with the role code FLCU01. So this role is going to store the data like let's say which sales organization does this customer belong, okay, which distribution channel will this customer follow, their divisions, okay, what all shipping condition does it follow. So all these details will be maintained at a customer sales organization rule. Now if you are purchasing anything from your vendor, then that vendor should be a part of your purchase organization there. Then to extend your vendor as a part of your purchase organization, the role will be changed to vendor and the role code will be FLVN01. So here we'll assign that this vendor is a part of which purchase organization, okay, which pricings they are following there. So all these details will be assigned at a vendor purchase organization rule. So these are the three levels, or these are the three structures of our business partner. So whatever business partner you create, whether your customer, vendor, or an employee, first of all, to create their general data is mandatory. First you mention their general details, then only will let our system know that okay, this business partner is our customer or a vendor or an employee. Clear the structure of business partner?
Ma'am, that customer FI is for sale.
Sorry?
Ma'am, that customer FI,
Huh?
second one, that is for sale.
No, if you want any customers, okay,
Yeah.
let's say you maintain your general data, right? But in general data, you didn't mention that okay, this general data is created for any customer or vendor. So we need to tell the system that okay, whatever general data we have maintained, that is for a customer who belongs to our company code.
Okay.
Okay, that is just like we have a bank number and we have a customer ID, right? Over there. If you have analyzed it. So bank number will be always different, no doubt. If you have, if your family members have a bank account in the same bank, okay, then all of you will have a same customer ID. Why? Because general data of your family are same, right? So that will be stored under customer ID and general data, and your bank account number means your customer FI role. So every four members, you have four members in your family, like the blood relations, and all the four members will have a unique bank number only. No doubt if you have a same bank over there. So that is what customer FI role. It just